Let's talk about how to choose the correct conclusion. So we're going to be focusing on this last step here. For this example, I've got an alternative hypothesis, which is our claim. So I'm going to go ahead and label the alternative as our claim. So we also want to decide if we're rejecting or failing to reject. I'm just going to choose one for the sake of our example here. So let's say that we choose to reject the null hypothesis. If we reject the null hypothesis, that means that we are favoring the claim. So I'm going to go ahead and circle the claim there, the alternative. So I am favoring it. I can also say supporting. So I'm favoring or supporting the alternative hypothesis, which happens to be the claim. I can use stronger language for my null hypothesis because it's what I'm assuming to be true. So for the null hypothesis, I could say, since I'm rejecting it, I could say that language, rejecting. I could also say that we're not supporting, although that language normally goes along with the claim. Notice that for the alternative hypothesis, I do not say reject the alternative, and I do not say fail to reject or not reject. That language, that strong language, is reserved for the null hypothesis. So I never use that language for the alternative hypothesis. Okay, so with that in mind, I've rejected the null. I'm favoring the alternative, which is the claim. Let's go ahead and read through these conclusions. So for this first conclusion, it says there is sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. Well, I never talk about rejecting the alternative hypothesis, and besides, I'm actually favoring the claim. So this one's out. In the second one, there is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. Again, that language rejection of the claim of the alternative hypothesis is never used, so I can cross this one off also. Number 3, the sample data support the claim that the population mean is greater than 90.6. I am using that word support, and I am supporting or favoring that claim, so this one's definitely a contender. Let's look at the last one. There's not sufficient sample evidence to support the claim, but I am supporting the claim, so this one is out as well. So I'm choosing number 3. It's using that weaker language of support, which I can use because it's an alternative hypothesis, and it goes along with the fact that I'm favoring that claim. Let's look at an example where we fail to reject. I've got the same setup here. The alternative hypothesis is our claim, so I'll go ahead and label that as the claim. But this time I'm going to fail to reject. It gives me the option of accept, but we never accept the null hypothesis. We only use the language of rejecting or failing to reject. That means that failing to reject, that means I'm favoring the null hypothesis and I am not supporting the claim. I don't say I reject the claim, I say I don't support the claim. I'm using that weaker language because it could just be that I need to collect more data or my sample is biased in some way. So I can only conclude that I'm not supporting the claim, not that I outright reject it. Okay, so I am not supporting my claim. So let's read through our options here. So as such, the final conclusion is that there is sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. Well, I am not favoring the claim, but I can't use that strong language of rejection because it's my alternative hypothesis. So rejection and claim do not go together. So I crossed that one off. The second one, there is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. Again, I can cross that one off because it has the language of rejection in it. It kind of makes it nice. Number 3, the sample data supports the claim that the population mean is greater than 90.6. I am not supporting that claim. I'm actually favoring the null hypothesis instead. So that one's out. This has got to be it. There's not sufficient sample evidence to support the claim. There is not enough evidence to support the claim. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm using the weaker language of not supporting, and that's going along with my alternative hypothesis. So I am choosing that one.